Welcome everybody, I'm Dr. Hafizullah and you are here in the kitchen with Dr. H. Today I'm making some amazing dishes from the Dominican Republic. We're making a brown rice asopao, and from my home country Trinidad, a delicious chicken pilau. Now we're using a lot of rice in these dishes, right? Now rice is actually globally recognized as the king of grains, making up over 20% of calories consumed by us worldwide. It actually made its agricultural debut in the Caribbean in the 1700s, where it became not only an important dietary supplement, but a fundamental base in dishes throughout Caribbean nations. Now, an example of the creativity of Dominican cuisine is asopao. It's a dish that can be very particular depending on the imagination of the person who cooks it. The word asopao is a contraction of asopado, which means soupy or soup-like in Spanish. In English, the translation for asopao can be a rice stew or rice pottage, which is prepared with different seasonings, is typical of the Caribbean and one of the most important dishes in Dominican gastronomy. Today, I'm also making one of my family favorites with a twist, Trinidad and Tobago chicken pilau. Like the Twin Islands, Pelau itself is very complex in its nuance, right? It's a twisty story of a meal that incorporates culinary legacies and cooking techniques of the two most dominant ethnicities on the islands, Africans and East Indians. Pelau does more than just capture and reflect our cultural vibrancy. It tells the story of our tragic yet triumphant history, encapsulating the richness of a truly multicultural society. So pilau is very similar to other protein-rich rice dishes found throughout the world, like jambalaya, biryani, paella. Pilau itself is cooked with a protein with aromatics and vegetables. You can use chicken or beef and a bevy of pungent herbs and aromatics, like scallions, cilantro, you can use parsley, thyme, onions, ginger, garlic, Scotch bonnet peppers, or even habaneros. The marinade provides an assertive and arresting bedrock of bright, unrelenting flavors, in which the other ingredients, which are your rice, your pigeon peas and vegetables, and coconut milk, are slowly simmered. So come on everybody, I know you're hungry. Let's get cooking. Welcome to another episode. I'm Dr. Hafizullah and you're in the kitchen with Dr. H. Today I'm very excited. We are traveling to the Dominican Republic for a Dominican brown rice asopao, and we're back to my home country Trinidad, where we're making a delicious chicken pilau, and we're pairing that with a mango mint mojito. So are you ready? Look at this amazing array of ingredients that we have in front of us. We are eating our colors today, making just a couple of small changes, but excited to just get started. Now I'll tell you, pilau has been a part of my family forever. All of my kids, all of them. You know what? Who's always requesting the pilau in my family? Maybe it is Anissa, maybe Nadia, Zarina, definitely Adam, but he likes more spice in it. But my husband will eat whatever we put in front of him and he loves it. He's usually not a pilau person because he likes it to be a little bit less soupy, but he loves this version. So I can't wait to share it with you. And then the Dominican brown rice asopao, we're making it vegetarian style today. Don't need the meat in there. So with these two amazing rice dishes, let's get cooking. You're gonna feel the comfort and the love in this kitchen. All right, we're gonna start to heat up our pans. I have both pans going because we're going to make both dishes at the same time. The first one I'm going to start off first is actually the pilau, because the pilau takes a little bit of time to cook, and I want to make sure that our substitute for the sugar, which will be pumpkin today, because usually when we're stewing the chicken, we stew it in caramelized sugar that's dark brown. So we're eliminating that sugar and using fresh calabaza or fresh pumpkin and allowing that to really caramelize and turn nice deep brown. That is going to give the undertone of sweetness, but give us a fiber punch and extra flavor. Don't need the sugar in there at all, right? We're adding our marinated chicken straight to that. So while this oil is heating up, it looks like it's getting there already. Let's just add in all of that pumpkin. And I like to chop it up a little bit small because then you can get it to cook a little faster. You want to get as much surface area covered on there. So let's increase the heat just a little bit. Now that's going to start to get a little bit bubbly. We're going to start to hear some action happening in that pot. At the same time, we can start our asopao. Now for both dishes today, we're going to use brown rice. And what I've used today is parboiled brown rice. So it's sort of a pre-cooked rice, so it doesn't take all day to cook it. Usually, if we're at home, I'm making this in, actually the hot pot itself, or we can cook it for a longer period of time and then come back to it. But today, just for you, we're going to make it a little bit of an accelerated version, right? So the brown rice for the asopao, I soak it in a little bit of vegetable broth, just so it absorbs some of that liquid, because the asopao is more of a porridge, it's a little bit soupier. So you can make sure that that's done ahead of time. You can see that all of the liquid was already, sopped up by the rice grains on here, so you don't see that anymore. So you can hear now that my pumpkin is beginning to sort of sizzle in this pot and caramelize. That's what I want to hear.
Why is CVS Pharmacy America's choice for vaccinations?
Because we all got the COVID-19 vaccine and flu shot. And I can make the appointment right here.
Save time, schedule online. No wonder CVS Pharmacy is America's choice for vaccinations.
So we're going to add in, for the asopao dish, another nice about 2 tablespoons or so forth of extra virgin olive oil just at the bottom of the pan. Let's let that heat up a little bit. The first thing we're going to do in here is, of course, make sure our vegetables are cooked down in some of the spices. So once that oil heats up a little bit, then we're going to add in some of our other seasonings. This will take its time to cook. The pilau will take a little bit of time to cook down. Get a pan that's a little bit non-stick, and then you don't have to worry about your pumpkin sticking, and you don't need as much oil when you use those kinds of pans. So I make sure that I'm using a nice food grade pan that doesn't have any of those chemicals or any of those other cancer-causing agents that sometimes make those pans non-stick. So now this is getting nice and hot, and I feel as if it's ready for me. I like to always add my onions in first. And here I have a little bit of red onion. Here a little bit of a sizzle there. And let's get that to stir up a little bit. Let's use another spoon. Get that to saute a little bit. And we are going to make sure that that heat is where I need it to be. You can add in your garlic. Now in this dish, you're not really adding any Scotch bonnet peppers unless you're like a Trini like me and you Trini-ize it and make a little bit of extra heat to this asopao dish. But typically you don't have Scotch bonnet peppers in there, right? So let this saute down a little bit. Once that gets to where it needs to go, then we're going to start to add our vegetables and let the vegetables cook down just enough. But remember, because we've already soaked our rice, it's not going to take a whole lot of time for that rice to cook out. And you really want the asopao to be more soupy, a little bit liquidy, because it is more like a rice porridge. And then our pilau depends on how you like it. You can have either a little bit of a softer grain or a little bit of a firmer grain. I'm sort of right there on the softer side. That's the way we love to eat it in our house. And we have different sets of vegetables that we're using for both. So right now you see I'm going to give the pumpkin some time, or the calabaza some time to really caramelize. So that is the hardest part, is to not turn it too often, right? You want to look at it, you want it to caramelize on each of the sides, and then give it a bit of a stir so that you can have that caramelization process happen a little bit. Looks as though my onions and garlic, that they're looking ready. And this is where you just literally add in all your other vegetables, okay? I have some red bell peppers. This is such a colorful and beautiful dish. I'm gonna add some carrots right in here. And you can add as much or as little as you'd like. I have zucchini here. The zucchini, I kept the skin on. As much fiber as you'd like to make sure you keep in your dish. That's even healthier for you. And we do have black beans, but I'm gonna add that a little bit later because I don't want it to mash down too much. And the other trick that I love to do, and my son didn't know about this for a little bit of time, but I always mixed in cauliflower rice into all of my rice dishes. He never knew it was there, but he loved eating the dish, and it actually gave it just a little bit more texture and depth. So we now add it to all of our rice dishes. It's a wonderful way to add vitamins and fiber without all the extra calories. So I'm beginning to smell the caramelization here. Look at that. You can see the dark brown happening. That's what you want to see. Stir that up a little bit. And this pan is just doing the right job here to kind of get the natural sugars from the pumpkin to sort of be drawn out and to turn brown. Look at that deep, rich brown color. Do you see that? You can smell it. Oh, it smells amazing. This is a nice trick for you to get that sweetness. Yes, of course, the brown sugar for this dish is supposed to brown the chicken, but we're going to use the heat of the pan to actually brown our chicken a little bit more. And let us get this. It's looking almost ready. See that? That's what I want to see. Most of the edges or the sides of my pumpkin just really turn a nice caramelized brown. That's it. You notice we really don't have much oil at all in this pan. You could add a touch more olive oil. I'm going to add just a little bit more before I add my chicken in. Just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil straight into here. All right, get that ready to go. And it is really going to start to accelerate. This, perfect. Love it. Oh, it smells amazing. And again, this is just plain pumpkin, nothing else added to it just yet, right? So that is the very first step. Let's check on our asapao for a second. Give it a little bit of a stir. Yep, those vegetables are cooking down nicely. I'm actually going to add some tomatoes into this now. Just a little bit of the tomato you can add in here. You can add it with the juices if you like a little bit of the acidic taste. And I add just enough that I think would, you know, give me sort of that tomato flavor without taking over. And you want to season this with 2 different things. So you can make this at home. You can make your own adobo seasoning with equal parts garlic powder, oregano, paprika, and onion powder, which is this one right here. And you can use your own sazon, your homemade sazon. And that you blend with annatto, oregano, garlic powder, cumin, coriander, and bay leaves. So we're literally going to add that in. You don't have to add any salt or pepper yet to this dish until you're ready to taste it. So here I have flavored. Oh, it smells amazing. Flavored my veggies on this side. I'm gonna let that cook a second. And looks like my pumpkin is really ready. Look at that, it's really caramelized perfectly. And now it's ready to say hello to the chicken, okay? Chicken that's been marinating for a little bit of time. That is what I want to see. Okay, so I have my chicken. It's been seasoned up with Trini green seasoning, which has culantro and scallion and garlic, a little bit of vinegar in there, salt and pepper. You can put I like to marinate this way ahead of time. These are chicken thighs. I'm gonna add them right in, right on top of the pumpkin, just like so. And just add that all just like that. Oh, feel that sizzle, everybody? So there's good seasonings in there. Yeah. This is a beautiful, both of these dishes are beautiful one-pot dishes. Literally, you're cooking the entire meal for the whole family in one pot. That's what I love about it. So I'm going to increase the heat just slightly here. And before I flip my chicken around, I'm going to just let that get to sort of brown a little bit on one side. Remember the pumpkin added a sweetness to it. So we're going to leave that there and give my asapao a little bit of love right here. Let that cook down a little bit. I actually want to add in a little bit of tomato paste into my asapao. And you know, you could use the same tomato paste for your pilau. Sometimes in the pilau, people use ketchup. You just use a little bit of tomato paste. It does the same thing with all the preservatives and the sugar additives and things like that. So I'm going to add in just a little of my tomato paste straight into there. Okay? And before I add my liquid in, I'm going to just take a peek at the vegetables and see if I want to stir that up a little bit. Because now it is cooking down. Some of the water from the vegetables are being released. Just like so. This dish is very, very simple and easy to make. Now, I I am going to add in a little bit of liquid. I'm going to add a little bit of low salt vegetable stock into the bottom of my asopao dish right here. Just enough to sort of cover some of the vegetables. And you can dilute that with a little bit of water. I always have both on hand, just like so. Just a little bit of water in there. Good. And that will help to break down the tomato paste that we just added in there. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of my rice. This is my soaked rice. Beautiful. So it's already soft rice, which is amazing. You don't need all of this. You can save some of this for later. It depends on how much you want to cook, because this is going to swell up a little bit in there. And I'm going to add in some of the black beans straight into that. How beautiful that is. Oh, that's going to add a little bit of starchiness and help to thicken up the water that's in there. Okay, and give this a little bit of a stir. Perfect. Remember I told you we were going to sneak in a little bit of cauliflower rice, right? I have a little bit right here. Let's just add in about a cup of the cauliflower rice straight into our asopao and give it a beautiful stir. Sounds like my chicken is beginning to brown nicely on one side from the pilau. See, we can multitask, we can get this done. Oh, this looks amazing. This is exactly what I want it to look like. Beautiful beans and the vegetables. I'm gonna give this just a little bit more of the liquid before I cover it and leave it alone. Just like so. Just a little bit more liquid, because I know my rice is going to absorb some of that liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt right here, right into this dish, and a little bit of cracked black pepper. Give it one more stir, cover it up, leave it alone. And then we're gonna come right back to it. And this is gonna cook by itself. I'm gonna cook it just enough so that the vegetables are a little bit firm. Okay, so here we go. Cover it.
Special thanks to our sponsors: Aetna CVS Health, American Heritage School.
Now that my chicken is just about almost there, I've got all my other ingredients for the pilau, right? I've got my onions, garlic, I have some celery and scallions, I have Scotch bonnet pepper, and here's a nice bundle of thyme. Now, sometimes people use kitchen string to keep the thyme, the thyme actual stems together. But what I've done is I took a piece of cilantro. You can take a bigger piece of the thyme stalk and just use it to tie it together as a bundle. It keeps it together so you don't have to try to look for that little fish out the stems over time, right? It's a really nice and easy way. Now, I also like to put a whole Scotch bonnet pepper straight into my pilau. That adds extra flavor without the actual spice, right? So the oils from the outside of the actual pepper melds in and integrates beautifully into the pot, right? So we're gonna do that as well. I think the chicken is looking just about sort of ready for some friends, right? Don't you think? It is not really too much water coming out of it right now. The rest of it will cook down when you add the other ingredients and when you cover this up. So let's give it another toss. Just give it a chance to really get in there. I'm going to increase my heat just to make sure this chicken is getting that warm blanket of love and that it is cooking all the way through. The bones from the thighs will add a juiciness and an extra flavor in there that you need to have in your chicken pilau. Okay, so now I'm going to add in a little bit of the minced garlic right here. And I'm going to add in some more onions. Depends on how much you'd like to add in. But I'm just going to add just a little bit. Everybody, you've got their own recipes for pilau. So whatever works for you. And every single time you might decide to switch it up a little bit. That's okay. There's no wrong way to do this. You could use whatever you have in your fridge. I have a little bit of celery in here. And I'm going to add in. Just to give it a little bit of crunch and a little extra texture. I'm going to also add in some scallions. I'm going to reserve a little bit of that for a little bit later when I'm plating. Just a little bit more of my scallions. I am adding in some bell peppers that I have here. You can add a little bit of bell pepper. Some people don't like to add the bell peppers. I had some in the fridge. I want to use it up. And I love to add in some pimentos, some chopped pimentos into my pilau. That gives it another undertone of flavor that you're like, what is that taste? Can't quite identify it, but I need it in my life. And then here, of course, my Scotch bonnet peppers chopped up. And add that in, just like this. As much or as little as you'd like. And I'm going to add in some Trini green seasoning that I home make. That has a culantro and all of the scallions and garlic, and you can even put some parsley in here and cilantro as well, and a little bit of whole garlic cloves that are also ground together. And you can store this in your fridge. This is so delicious. Let's give that a nice stir. All of this together. Look at that. That's beautiful. It smells so good in the kitchen. Oh, wish you could be here to smell this. We need smell-o-vision. All right, here we go. It looks like our asopao is doing its thing right there. Okay, let us give this a little time now. That's looking very good. Because this is a nice one-pot meal, everything literally goes into the pot, right? So my rice is gonna go in. The pigeon peas will also go in, and then we cover it up. Low sodium vegetable stock and some water. Add some salt and pepper. The thyme, let's put the thyme bunch right in there as well. And we're gonna add in our rice, just like so. Add it all the way around here, because this dish, it's going to expand for a little bit, right? Before I add in my peas, I'm gonna give it a turn just so I don't mash my peas up too much. There we go, just like so. Get the rice to sort of absorb the flavors from the very bottom of my pan and to coat everything. All right, there we go. Just like so. Okay. I'm gonna add, actually, before I add the liquid to it, I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato paste right into the middle, just like that. This is vegetable stock. It's a low sodium vegetable stock. Remember, the chicken bones give the flavor from the thigh itself. So there we go, just enough so that rice will cook down. You can mix that in with a little bit of water. Straight in here, add that in. And then I'm gonna add in my pigeon peas. Don't forget about these guys. They're a big part of this party. And add them right in, all of them. Beautiful. All right, now what I'm going to do is give this a little bit of a stir before I add in my whole Scotch bonnet pepper. There we go. Very nice. Cook this down. And all of those flavors are going to melt together. Now remember, we have a little bit of salt in the vegetable stock. We've already seasoned our chicken. Already has salt in there. I'm going to just add just a touch of salt and pepper, and we will do a little bit more if we need to for taste. That's what I love about this dish, is we're using a lot of fresh ingredients, nothing that's preserved, and you're reading your labels carefully and making sure that you're not putting anything into your body that you don't want there, right? So this is a little bit of cracked black pepper in there. Give it one more quick stir. You're gonna get your workout stirring with all of these dishes, guys. See the color from the tomato paste in here? That's gonna add a beautiful color, and so will the pumpkin that we put in here in the very beginning. It's gonna add a sweetness and another color. And throw in your beautiful Scotch bonnet or habanero pepper, and then close this up and let it cook. All right? So we're gonna make a beautiful mango mint mojito now. The first thing I wanna do is get some ice in my shaker. I'm gonna add in some mango puree. Just take mangoes and water and you just literally puree it together, just like so. I'm gonna add in a little bit of freshly squeezed lime juice. Now the mango will add the natural sugar. We don't need any other sugar to this, right? And I'm gonna add in just a few mint leaves straight in. You don't need to muddle this together. or you don't need to crush the leaves too much. The mint flavor will emanate from it, and you don't get that undertone of bitterness from the actual chlorophyll of the leaves. So what you're gonna do is just put that together, just like so. You have to hold on to that. Shake it up a little bit. Here we go. Let that mix together with the ice and the mint and the mango. That's it, just like that. Icy, delicious, minty flavor. And we're going to uncover that. See if we can pour in some of this puree straight in. Just a little bit of that puree. If it stops up a little bit, just give it a shake and give it another pour. Give it a shake, give it another pour, just like that. And we're gonna top it off with some sparkling water. Gonna have it right here on the side. Right here. A little bit of sparkling water. Just like that. Ah, beautiful. And you can see some of the mango, the puree right there on the bottom, and then just add in a little bit of mint straight in into your drink, just like that, just as a nice topper. And look at that, beautiful mint mojito with mango. Wow, oh, that is so refreshing, guys. I'm gonna add a little bit more sparkle to mine, and I know you're gonna drink with me here. You see, the glass size is just perfect. We don't need any more. This is a toast to you. As you know, I added coconut milk into the pilau. We got all of the spices adjusted there, enough salt and a little bit of cracked black pepper. Same for the asapao. And look, we've made it. Now let us plate our beautiful dishes. We're gonna start with the pilau, and then of course we have our asapao. So I'm going to grab a nice spoon here. And look how gorgeous this is, everybody. A nice one-pot family meal that we just put together in record time with delicious ingredients. Put as much of this as you'd like on your plate. You can save some for another day, but I know that this is gonna go very quickly in my house. And you can add your Trini hot sauce to it. You can add any other condiments that you want to use. You know, if it's June plum season, you can actually curry some June plum and put it on the side with this. There we go. I put as much of this as I can. Look at my pepper, it stayed nice and whole, but I have another pepper that I'm going to be putting on top. Just like that. Look how delicious that is. Beautiful. All right, put a little bit more of the rice over here. And we're going to top that with our Scotch bonnet pepper right in the middle. That's your beautiful Trini pilau. Now, let us plate our brown rice asapao. I'm gonna use a ladle for this one. It's a little bit more soupy, and that's what I want it to be. Needs to have a little bit of extra liquid in there, because this is more of my rice porridge, right? That has all of those delicious vegetables in there and a lot more liquid. So let's get the liquid in there, just like so. And oh, I tasted this ahead of time and it was incredible, everybody, incredible. Here we go, just like that. That's ready to go. And we're gonna top that off with a little bit of fresh cilantro, or you can do some parsley. I have some cilantro with some kitchen shears right here. I'm gonna put that right. We have our gorgeous Dominican brown rice asapao right here. Look at that, how stunning. And you notice it's a little bit of extra liquid in there because it is a rice porridge with vegetables, right? And then of course, we have our delicious Trinidad chicken pilau right here. Look how gorgeous that color is with a beautiful Scotch bonnet and some cilantro and some parsley over the top. It smells amazing in here. And as you know, we made our delicious drink together, right? Our mango mint mojito. Well, everybody, I hope you're as excited as I am. We did it. We traveled again to the Caribbean and we celebrated beautiful cultures and made some small changes. We want to wish you all good health and a long life, and I'll see you for the next episode. Rice dishes bring comfort, happiness, and warmth. Rice is made up of digestible starch and a special type of carbohydrate called resistant starch, which research suggests may be a key for weight control. Now, human beings don't have the enzymes to digest resistant starch, so it isn't transformed into sugar or quickly absorbed in the bloodstream like digestible starches. Instead, it bypasses the small intestine and is metabolized in the colon, where it's fermented into short-chain fatty acids that feed healthy colonies of gut bacteria. Now, the more resistant starch a food has, the fewer calories from that starch our bodies will absorb. Resistant starch is plentiful in foods like legumes, beans, whole grains, uncooked potatoes, and unripe bananas. Make your rice dish healthier by using healthy fats such as olive oil, avocado oil, and adding colorful vegetables, beans, peas, and lean meats. And add extra flavor without added salt by cooking your rice in a vegetable stock using smoked paprika, and also to remember to watch your portions.